And we just wanted to start by thanking you for letting us come and do our brief presentation to you tonight. We're here representing the Jenkins School Council. And also, we're here representing ourselves as residents of the community of Scituate, and I think that's important. You'll hear me say school a lot tonight, but really what we are seeking is beneficial to the community at large, and that's part of the reason that we have been going around and doing this presentation to various community groups such as yourselves. So, with that said, I personally joined the Jenkins School Council last fall in 2013 and participated in putting together the Jenkins School Culture Goal, which actually spans 2 years, 2014 and 2015, and you can see that up here in front of you. At Jenkins School, we foster and promote a safe and supportive school environment. We have 3 primary focus areas: safety, social responsibility, and technology. We try to do little subset goals for each of those areas that we're working on during the course of our culture goal timeframe. So with regard to safety, there was a lot of discussion around the arrival and dismissal concerns that we have had in the past at the school. Both Vinyl Avenue and First Parish Road encounter challenges during arrival and dismissal times at Jenkins, and the school council believes that improving access to and from the school for pedestrians would be pertinent to its goal. There are a lot of little subset things that happen within as far as the arrival and dismissal, but we felt like we could actually tackle that and affect some type of positive change. When I first started doing the presentation, last spring, I guess we started, right? This is just a quick shot of Vinyl Avenue, looking away from the school towards Stockbridge Road. As you can see, there are no sidewalks on Vinyl. That goes all the way down the entire street, which is the front door entrance of the school. Minimal yard space for pedestrians, and at the time that we started doing the presentation, the road was a two-way street.
It's still
It's true, it's still a two-way street.
okay.
Well, I'll get to that. There's a time change. Yeah. Anyway, obviously, walkers ended up on both sides of the road, up the street, trying to go to and from school. Buses and cars both coming both ways. As you can see, it's clearly a safety concern. There's not a lot of space for the kids to jump to the side. And there's not a lot of space for the buses or cars to give leeway to each other or the pedestrians that are trying to access the school, or anybody else in the community that wanted to get down the road. This was just another photograph that I liked that would show you just how tight the road was and how close the buses have to come to each other. And as you can see, there really is minimal space for pedestrians or anybody on a bike that's trying to get down the road. And as my caption says, imagine if you added some snow. Anyway. So as part of being on the school council, we were charged as a group the task of reviewing the elementary school handbook last spring, and I actually came across this nice piece of information that I thought further highlights the rationale for supporting the Pathway project that we're currently seeking. And as you can see, there's a section in the handbook that states the school districts will assess and, if necessary and to the extent possible, make needed improvements to make it safer and easier for students to walk and bike to school. When appropriate, the districts will work together with local public works, public safety, and or police departments in those efforts. I am pleased to say that thanks to these presentations and some of these conversations, part of this has actually happened. This past Tuesday, as Val was mentioning, the Board of Selectmen actually voted in favor of allowing Vinyl Avenue to be a one-way road moving from the Driftway or Kent Street up to Stockbridge during drop-off and pickup times for school. And the school buses that you saw going side by side have now been asked to go and drop off on the First Parish side. So it's easing traffic and safety concerns on First Parish Road, where previously parents were backing up in their cars all the way up and blocking the road for the safety vehicles and any of the cars that were trying to get by, and it was obviously hard for our crossing guard to cross people at that point. So that we have basically flip-flopped it. The buses now come on First Parish and do that horseshoe loop, and parents are asked to queue up on Vinyl Avenue and come in a very orderly fashion to drop off and pick up their kids, and then continue out the same way on Vinyl to access Stockbridge Street. This was talked about at the Traffic Rules and Regulations Committee, along with the police department and the school. Our principal, Jennifer Arnold, who's part of our school council, and also the superintendent was involved. So anyway, after a 30-day trial of that process at the start of school, and with having gone around and identified as many neighbors as we could on Vinyl to let them know that this process would be happening, and we welcome feedback, whatnot, I'm happy to say that this past Tuesday they agreed to make that change. So that's one positive step in this process. So.
But there are still students walking right Vinyl Ave, and there are
no pathway, no pathway at all. So we've had, one nice improvement, but there's certainly more that can be done. And then I also like this other piece that I found in the elementary handbook, which talks about the use of school facilities outside of school hours. School spaces and facilities will be available to students, staff, community members before, during, and after school day, on weekends, and during school vacations to offer physical activity, whatnot. I like that because, as I said, you're hearing me say the word school a lot, but really the facility around it is for anybody in the community. The playground that's there,
which is
the fields in the back.
It's a very extensive playground.
Right.
And lots of fields.
Right.
Not all fields, but plenty.
Right, places to play, sled, all kinds of things. Anyway, the point is, this helps connect us to our goal of obtaining a pathway, because it shows that the space is used by the community at large, which I think is nice. In the process of working on figuring out how we might be able to affect some positive change on the street and gain a pathway, Val and I came across the 2007 Scituate sidewalk study, which was already done and presented to the Board of Selectmen in April of 2007. It was put together by various town officials and a few local contributors. The board had 3 tasks. One was to create an inventory of existing sidewalks. Task number 2, identify areas where new sidewalks would improve pedestrian access and safety. So for task 2, this took into consideration things like the key pedestrian destinations in the town of Scituate. So the 6 schools, the 3 town centers, 2 public transportation hubs, the library, the 7 ball fields, and the 6 playgrounds. Task 3 was to then recommend a method for setting priorities for building new sidewalks, which had 3 things that they used in evaluating that: routes, service, and safety. Routes refers to the fact that walkers have destinations they're trying to get to, and the destinations have specific routes that you're usually using, and they were identifying the gaps that were in those routes for people that are trying to walk throughout town. The service portion refers to fixing the gaps in the routes that are serving the greatest number of residents, so they quantified that. And the safety part concentrates first on the routes with the greatest danger to pedestrians. So those were all like the rating system factors that they used in the study to kind of figure out which roads should be addressed first. So these are the statistics that are specific to Vinyl Avenue from the study. The pathway would complete the connection between Kent Street and Stockbridge Road, where there are sidewalks. The length in feet is approximately 1,600. The number of homes that this new pathway would serve would be 87. For that rating system that we talked about, the speed and volume rate came out as a 4. And in my own current estimation of doing this process, the number of potential walkers simply to the school that this would affect would be 60. And this slide talks about the Scituate sidewalk study results, which I think are pretty telling for our case. Vinyl, first of all, the study results were presented and accepted by the selectmen 7 years ago, so it's been a long time since much has really changed. Vinyl Avenue is one of the top 10 streets designated as a priority for some type of sidewalk. Safe routes to school funding for sidewalks in Scituate has been exhausted because each community is only allowed 1 grant per community, and ours has already been used. So that's why we're looking into other avenues to possibly bring something to Vinyl Avenue.
Jen, is it one grant total or grant per year?
One
No, I
grant
think it's-
total,
yeah,
and
total.
Cavalier School was the one that won the grant.
So anyway, the school council, kind of considering all these things, was trying to figure out how we could fund and acquire the pathway that we desired. And in doing some digging and learning about other projects and things around town, we discovered the alternative funding options of the Community Preservation Committee. Situate's Community Preservation Fund is funded by a 3% surcharge on local real estate taxes and generous matching funds from the Commonwealth. So this is something that people already pay into with their taxes. It doesn't take anything extra or additional from you. And then those things can be used through the Community Preservation Act, which is a subset of the CPC. They have different criteria under the CPA, and we feel that the one that best suits our needs is the criteria of recreation. They also have some others like historical preservation, things of that nature. So the CPA defines the recreation as recreational use is defined to include active or passive recreational use, including but not limited to the following: community gardens, trails, non-commercial youth and adult sports, parks, playgrounds, and athletic fields. So we are focusing on the trails section, which is why we also call this a pathway and not a sidewalk. So the next slide talks about the Jenkins School Council action so far. We submitted last spring an application of eligibility to the Community Preservation Committee under that criteria of recreation. The CPC did accept our application on May 12th. They asked us to go around and start garnering neighborhood support, which we have done. And we had also previously collaborated with the DPW and received a cost estimation of the proposed pathway. And then we had started doing the presentations to various community groups, such as yourselves, to increase awareness and gain support. I wanted to take a moment and highlight the general community advantages, because as I said, I keep saying school a lot, but really this is for the betterment of the town and the community at large. Having this new pathway would provide an easy and safe walking access to Jenkins School, including the playgrounds and fields for general residential use, not just the students. The new walking path, the connection would make a new walking path to get to Front Street, the Driftway Trail, Peggy Beach, the Lighthouse, however far you wanted to go, depending on where you were coming from in town. It's just another way that you can access different streets in town. It would also be a new walking path to the post office, library, or town hall if you were coming from town. Our current pathway supporters are the Department of Public Works, the Community Preservation Committee, the Traffic Rules and Regulations Committee, the School Committee, Planning Board, Recreation Commission, and to date 15 Vinyl Avenue residents. So that pretty much sums up our presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions or field anything like that that you might have.
It's very impressive. Very about that.
Absolutely.
You want to go to work for us?
When I'm done with this, maybe I will, sure. I'm always happy to participate in things that, you know, are part of the betterment of the town. The funny thing about this is I have two boys. One just entered Gates, and my other son is a 6th grader at Jenkins. So by the time this actually comes to fruition, he's probably going to be well into Gates or possibly in high school. But either way, it's still something that is near and dear to my heart. And I guess as another side note, we're primarily like a walking family. My husband and I share one car, so I use all of the pathways and sidewalks throughout town to get my kids to school, to their friend's house, to town, whatever we want to do. So I feel like even though, you know, it might be a smaller side road that people don't think a lot about, the more we can make these little connections, the better it's going to be for the community. So.
What would you like us to do? What service information only, or if you know the whole that you'd like us to do? What do you think?
I think, you know, really we came for a couple of reasons. One, to just raise general awareness, because obviously as this process continues and we present our final application to the CPC, and for their consideration. If it becomes something that they're interested in truly backing, as we think they are, then eventually it comes to town vote. You have to vote on how you spend the CPC money, so that's part of the rationale for being here. Certainly, any letters of support from different groups that we can acquire to hand in with our final application, I think is helpful.
In the past, any group that we have presented to, they've taken a vote whether to support the project or not. And if they did support it, then they did write a letter in support. And it's just something that will go together with the rest of the big application packet.
Has anyone thrown an estimated cost out?
But we have.
Oh, yes, the DPW gave us a cost estimate of $450,000.
Okay.
But that would
They would
include,
create the pathway to exactly where?
that part would have to be determined following like surveys and things of that nature. The pathway, there's no set determination of which side of the road this would go on, and it may even need to start on one side and switch to the other because the telephone poles move around.
Yeah.
Obviously, they take all of this into consideration, but those are like further down the road steps. Part of the cost, you have to remember, includes some of this surveying and right, the engineering, the fact that they would like to use granite curbs because that provides a better buffer for cars that might accidentally potentially bump up if kids are on the sidewalk. Like, there's a lot of fine-tuned details that go along with that price that Kevin Cafferty has helped us work out.
Right, and they have been there is in place an engineering plan from Stockbridge down to the school, because it had been hoped that there would have been a sidewalk coming from Stockbridge down.
Around the corner.
It never made it that, well, that's another whole subject.
Yeah.
But, so that they have that portion of the engineering done.
So we haven't had any kind of a map that, to show where the sidewalks, just something to look at, like.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I have a map of the street that's small, but it would not indicate currently where the pathway would go, because that has not been fully determined. Like, first the CPC has to say, yes, we'd like to tackle this as one of our projects under the criteria of recreation, and then you move forward with those steps.
Advisory
Right.
to see if they will approve, then we go to selectmen to see if they will approve, then it's town meeting to be approved there.
But that's a good suggestion, and I can certainly, of course I want a pencil, make a note to have that kind of thing for the secondary presentations that we have to do.
Yeah, just something, I know where all the streets are.
Right.
But
Yeah, right, connection, sort of.
Got it,
My
okay.
kids didn't go to Jenkins,
Right,
Yeah.
yep.
so I didn't drive it.
But I think it's.
May I borrow your pen? I'll
Sure.
write that note for myself.
Personally, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I
Okay.
think it's a good use of the CPC.
Most people are horrified,
Yes.
most people are horrified that we have the front door of a school that has housed 650 students and there's no sidewalk in front of it.
Has it been referred to as a walking path for some reason,
Because it's
rather than a sidewalk?
CPC would, under recreation, it would be a trail or
Would it be
But a
considered-
trail curb is sort of a sidewalk.
However,
You just can't call it a sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what we
the
were
same
advised,
thing.
yeah.
It would be paved?
It would be
Yes.
Tilden Road. The group from Wampatuck had this same type of project. It was approved at last year's town meeting.
Tilden multipurpose trail.
It's called the Tilden Multipurpose Trail. So it would go from Turner Road, because there is a sidewalk from Wampatuck to Turner Road, and it will go from Turner down to Beaver Dam. This, Jen happened to be at the traffic rules and regs meeting when that project came up, and she said, sounds like this could be the answer to
So
our...
is the anticipation that this would be totally funded by CPC?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well, obviously,
I mean, money is...
funded to CPC, but we already pay into that, but it's not an additional cost to residents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we did the 3%.
We're not having bake sales.
Right, no.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions?
So it's been approved by the Board of Selectmen and next.
No.
That's a
Well,
further step.
CPC itself, once the final packet has been submitted, they make a decision whether or not they will approve this.
And
Then it's advisory, then it's selectmen, then it's town meeting. I will say, when the school, prior to its being built, one of the residents, a couple of the residents, did go before the Board of Selectmen and said, you're putting in a huge school. It spans a whole block. Most people think of it as on First Parish Road. They really don't think about where the other side of it is.
Right.
And they don't think of kids walking on the other side. So kids coming down Stockbridge Road, out from Jen's on Common Street. So coming in that direction, they're really surprised that, oh my goodness, it's down there. But people had gone and spoken to the selectmen prior to the construction and said, you're putting in a school, you need to put in a sidewalk.
I thought it was a state law.
I don't know.
Well, the school's been open almost 10 years and we don't have one for
You didn't do it?
Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Say you're in favor, or so you support it?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion. I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we,
So that means the letter should go to them and...
It could go through Linda, because we've been doing some email communication with her to set up the time to come and speak with you all, so that would be perfect.
If you gave it to Linda, she can contact us. and that'd be great. Thank you.
Everyone, this for minutes of last month. Has everyone had a chance to look at last month's minutes?
No, they weren't either.
They were?
That's great.
We'll take a minute to go over the minutes. We'll go from there.
Is that going to be okay? Yeah. Do you want to look at this one? I can just...
Yeah, it's in the right.
can you leave that one down?
I'm sorry.
This one here?
Yeah.
Sorry, Carol.
Yeah, that's good. You don't have to put it up there. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
My pocket.
Want to do the pickleball chamber?
Thank you.
No, not yet. No.
Are you recording?
Yeah, this has all been recorded. I just moved it to get the presentation.
We should take a...
It was very impressive, very
Good class.
Is that new member here? Oh, right there. Yeah, oh, right. Anyway, nice to see you. There you were, Julius. Welcome. Thank you for your time. I know it'll be well spent. Okay, you want a speed reader? You want any comments, questions, concerns about the minutes? I entertain a motion to accept them.
I make a motion. I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. Ms. Cutler is going to give us the director's report since when you think you did tonight.
Right. She's at an NCOA conference at Cape. Report needs assessment. Draft of survey has been reviewed by the working group and updated. We are piloting the survey to a small group on Friday. Questions were included for housing, transportation, health and wellness, and use of the senior center for programs and services. Publicity regarding the survey going to the community by the end of October will be included in the Mariner both this week and next week. Surveys will be requested back by Monday, November 17th. The final report is expected on or about December 21. Linda, Laura Menaire, Jenny Gurbis are at the Mass Council on Aging Conference in Falmouth this week. This is the report of the activities for the past month. I guess everybody can read them, there's no sense in me doing that.
Do they more or less stay the same? I'm looking at knitting, they always had a good group.
Knitting does have a good group.
Art as well, I mean, they're big hits.
Art, we love our art. Yeah, bridge is kind of low.
How many, are there 2 tables?
2.
On
Yeah.
separate days, right?
Well, we have 2 tables on Tuesday, that's it.
Could you accommodate more, presently where we are, they can come?
We could. On that same day.
I've been signed up for a long time.
Yeah, then they have to get more, so it just needs a little bit more work. Special programs and events, Health and Wellness Fair on October 16th from 10 to 2, consisting of veteran safety taught by Sheriff's Department, important Mass Secretary of Elder Affairs, Ann Harstein. It was coordinated by Rep. Keenewell's office, and that will kick off the visit to talk from 10 to 11.
May I intervene?
Yeah,
That was an excellent idea, the robocall that I got today.
good.
Did all of you, coming
From
from a
Melanie.
week from today?
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pickleball, we're doing at Jenkins School Gym, which is somewhat popular. Hopefully it will grow. It's a sport sort of like ping pong and tennis mixed together. Our cafe talks are really successful. We just get a full house for those all the time. We're going to have a Shine presentation on October 15th, which is really important for Medicare, which this is the re-enrollment period. Naval historian, we have already some of our World War II vets, I can't wait for that. And Kathy Lee will go author on October 28th. And that's about that.
What
And
time do these things happen?
wait,
10 o'clock?
yeah, every day or what?
They're all the same time.
How long does the cafe talk though? How long does the cafe
It
talk?
depends how long it goes and how long people are interested in it, and it's usually sort of determined by the presenter, and,
Or if there are other activities coming up in the same space.
Yeah, but-
Are the cafe talks done at the
at the center.
center?
Yeah,
In the afternoon or night?
morning, 1 o'clock.
Are there any, I haven't been there lately, I've been busy because I'm going on. I'm
Yeah,
just curious, if there seem to be a lot of these gatherings and activities where you're running out of room in the building.
well, we get pretty full for some of them, and when we have, what's the last?
I know sometimes you'll have-
We have to limit it
Yeah.
to so many people. Yeah, so we might have to, if we were gonna have a luncheon or something like that, it would be limited to 40. And the problem is because we don't have any preservation or any kind of food in at community village.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's our kitchen and keep it. So that's that.
Do you have some idea about how many people are going to be surveyed in that small group that's mentioned here?
There's a
Dozen.
small group, it's gonna be less than a dozen, more like a half a dozen, I think, yeah.
And so when the survey is finally put together, it's going to be mailed out
It's a random sample,
or random?
random sample, and before it goes out, they can send out yellow postcards notifying whoever on their list, please be on the lookout for the questionnaire that is going
I read a word, are you talking about the needs assessment survey or something?
The needs assessment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And encouraging them to finish it. It won't take them 10 minutes,
Uh-huh.
you know, but I think you've got to, in this day and age, you get a lot of, surveys on occasion, so we're trying to promote it. We're gonna try to work hard to bring it to people's attention that it is gonna happen, that it is a sample. It's random, but we need
And
the
about how
information.
many will that? 2,000?
2,000 residents.
Now, is it all going to be mailed or? Because I don't think you can just do one thing or the other. It is mailed, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the internet is concerned, I think it's a great tool, but not everybody has access.
They don't even
They
have
don't even know.
some of the things.
Yeah.
That's why when they did surveys before, this selectman would say they wasn't too much of a response. Well, if you are doing it by the internet and people don't have a computer,
Right.
they would say go to the library. These are people that for the most part have to use the van to get out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was double time.
Yeah.
So it's a random survey of all age groups, or random survey of seniors?
45 and over.
Ah.
We would like to get flavor of the 45 to 65 as well as those of us.
Yep.
You're a day old.
All right. Transportation discussion.
If anybody has any questions, the transportation report is here.
I have a quick question. Would Cafe Talk be interested in showing a movie?
Any movie or anything like
Documentary?
A movie called Beyond Belief that we showed, that Rotary showed at the Millwall Center last night.
I know about that one.
It's about two 9/11 widows who lived around, like in Wellesley and everything.
You know
But
what?
it's a little longer now, it's like an hour and a half, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be okay. You could just, Linda books all those, and Linda and Melanie, if you just give Linda a call, she's always looking for, new and different ideas for the cafe talks.
Okay.
And we want to keep it, kind of cutting edge like that.
We could probably make that happen, if she wants.
If we're talking about a film, could we have it here? Would this accommodate more than the senior center? Is my
Probably not.
But it does that screen.
That's
It does have that lovely screen.
These guys, just come in here. How many times have been here, you don't lose the screen? No, So, I think this is, I think this place is supposed to end at 50 to 70.
Well, we'll let Lynn figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only downside to that is that,
Transportation.
no, we can bring it if he wants to come, is getting the goodies and the coffee, but just slide it over here. But we've done that before, so it's not that big a deal.
I'd like to say you could do it at Pier 44, or if Pier 44, the facility to make coffee, which they don't. That was one.
This doesn't either, I mean, it has a plug, so we can do that. Yeah,
That's a great idea.
it is a good idea.
That sounds awesome.
Could it happen before the holidays?
Sure.
You have to check it.
It's up to Linda's scheduling facility and scheduling the talk.
Could someone give me a brief explanation where the link comes in? Where does it supplement our daily? Where the link?
We, the daily vans is our vans,
Yep.
Situate Council on Aging, and they're pretty local, stay in Scituate, across the border into Cohasset for a couple medicals and grocery shopping. The link is out-of-town medical transportation only.
Okay.
And we have a budget of $22,000 a year for that. And we watch it like a hawk because it'll run away with it. And we subcontract that to South Shore Community Action Council in Plymouth. So anytime we get, or I get ride requests for out of town, I have to book it with them, blah, 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 make sure we have everything exactly right. Sometimes it's hard for seniors that they have to know the doctor's name, exact address, telephone number, all that stuff. But, you know, it's very good. We've lately, we're just getting tons and tons of new people that are calling for out-of-town medical. We really are. And a lot of, you know, all these goodies are still hanging in there. So once in a while, and it hasn't happened in a long time, we have to limit how many rides a month any particular person can have if the budget is getting strained. But we cannot go over it.
Do they pick up and deliver?
They're going to deliver at your home. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Do I dare ask, is any of the gap for money, you know, how they
All
say?
gas money covers it.
So that's 22,000.
Oh, what now?
GATRA?
I've been a long time trying to figure out where that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go through the rest of these.
I have would it be helpful, and I don't know the answer to the question, would it be helpful for veterans to utilize a different service?
That's
There's a service in Plymouth called Nathan Hale,
right.
and they transport veterans.
And we do give out those numbers to a lot of vets.
Okay, good.
We do.
Okay.
And MAP it's from South Shore Elder Services. It's a grant for $15,000 a year, and it's split between 5 towns. And we're one of those towns. So that gives us $3,000 extra a year for out-of-town medical. So that's $25,000 a year on out-of-town medical transportation. And people need it. They really need it. Driving to Boston, it goes to Boston, it goes south, it goes wherever you need to go, pretty much.
That's great.
Is that typical number 55? That's in jump from 4 to 55 or what?
Yes, because what happens oh, you should have it. They're all out of
No one
order.
wants to go to the hospital in August, but in September, it's time to go.
That was a particularly, what happened was, the MAP budget doesn't go the same as our fiscal year. It goes from October 1st to September. And I had a whole bunch of money left in the Scituate portion, so I just got the long one to use our money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's 2 separate
There is.
agencies handling the out-of-town medical.
That's right. Okay, they all go through us.
Okay.
We screen every single ride. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of rides per month, but we get there. And,
Is it ever feasible to try to combine 2 people in the same trip? Or?
oh,
yeah.
but see, when I send the paperwork to South Shore Community Action for the lake, they also do the transport from that. So they know everybody in the South Shore, everywhere, where they're going and when. So, yes, the vans are full. And interestingly enough, the prices for MAP are more expensive than the prices for the link. And that's because we have our own private contract with Community Action Council for our link, because it is a lot of money. So they give us a better deal. And all the transportation, well, we have the 3,000 for MAP, and we have the 22,000 for GATRA. I'm going to try to get that increased next year. But GATRA is Greater Attleboro Taunton Regional Transit Authority. And we get really a good chunk of money from them. And it covers our link, $22,000 a year. It covers repairs to the vans, our gasoline consumption, our drivers' salaries, and a little bit of my salary and a little bit of Linda's. So every month I have to send them, you know how the government is, lots of info, but it has to be perfect and balance and all this stuff. And we get a check in the mail and back it goes and check. So it's, it is, and it's kind of fun because you really get to know a whole lot of people on the phone. You never meet them, which is, you know, it's once in a while you get to meet them. And you know, the people that call for our daily van all the time, they're like old buddies, and a lot of these link people are, and we asked the link people if they could send us a donation for our transportation fund, and some of them are very generous, some of them can't afford it. So it's not.
You do a great job.
No.
How is the volunteer component?
Volunteer,
That you have names of a few people?
Yes.
That you can call on?
yep, yep, and I try to do that for people that maybe are a little bit forgetful, and if they were to take a van, they might forget where they are, how they're going to get back, so
Mhm.
I try to pair them with a volunteer because it's a little bit more personal care. Yeah.
So you have a list of,
Why not?
I hate to lose somebody, you sure will.
Oh, yeah.
You
You know, it's a good possibility with some
Yeah, but it is.
people. Yeah.
how big is your list of volunteers that you can call on?
I would say, yeah, 6 to 8 really reliable people.
Not, they'll drive the bus.
I have one who will drive the bus.
They'll take their car and they'll take the.
They take their car and pick up, you know, and,
Yes, it is.
yeah, but they, you know, they handle a lot of weight. There's so many appointments, medicals and that. And that's not a bad thing for them. We're fortunate.
Thank you. That's very good report. Thank you. Any other questions for Julie, or we'll move on to Jones?
It's down here, it's down here.
Q, well, Q's the nickname, and that's Q. The full name's Quincy Ann,
Okay.
Quincie hyphen capital A-N-N.
Okay, and the last one?
Cutler.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Joan? On the floor,
Okay.
on the table, or whatever.
We always meet the first Tuesday of the month, so it's Tuesday. Financially, they're doing great. They continue to grow. In fact, the building they're in, there's more room that they're going to rent. So, and, you know, they cover now adults with disability, not just seniors, so that's another reason for the increase. Let's see.
I told us that before, they also provide help for veterans as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the new thing they have a big, when you go in, they have a big bulletin board with stars, and anybody who works there, or on the board or anything, who has someone in the military, they have their name up there in the star.
That's great.
Something they just did in the last couple of months. We had a big booklet that they gave us, that they've been working on, because of so many things coming up. A huge operation plans, which is all kinds of plans for emergency. Like if different ones in the staff got sick, who would take over, what would happen? You know, if they had something to do with a disease or something that's contagious. And so they've come up with this huge booklet with all kinds of information for any type of emergency at all. So I thought that was good, and that was discussed. Yeah, it is. It's been very extensive. Anybody wants to look at it. And I mentioned Linda probably has one at the office. Events coming up. The annual meeting is on November 19th at Lantanis. They have a wellness walkathon, which will be at South Shore Mall on November 16th. There's going to be a caregivers lecture on November 20th, but we didn't have the details for that.
Is the annual meeting the 19th or the 9th?
The 19th.
19th. I had it wrong on my calendar, so I'm asking.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
have it.
Oh, it's 19th. we always have board training. And this was to do with the Old Colony Elderly Services with the PCA program, which is a personal care attendant program. And this is for low income, it's under Mass Health. What it is, it's offered from Mass Health. The PCA program provides an opportunity to consumers with permanent or chronic disabilities the freedom to manage their own personal care needs while remaining in the community. So if they're home, they could have a daughter or a friend or someone they knew as caregiver, and they would be paid. It can't be the spouse. And it can't be, if it's a child or something, it can't be the parent. And South Shore Elderlies, what they just kind of evaluate. They go in and talk and evaluate and they guide. But actually this comes under the Old Colony Elderly Services. And they're the one, they have to do time sheets and they go in and they interview these people, and they have to keep a time sheet that what they're paid $13.38 an hour.
Is that 40 hours or they?
It can change for each individual. All depends, and that's what South Shore Elderly kind of interviews and finds out and helps them. Is available to all consumers of Mass Health Standard or Mass Health Common Health, regardless of age. So it's low income, it goes by income. And there's quite a bit of information on that. They're having a fundraiser. It's going to be at Chico's, South Shore Elderly Services, at Chico's in Derby Street, Hingham. Derby Street, Derby Street. And it's on October 15th, 12 o'clock to 4 p.m. So anything you buy there, 10% will go to South Shore Elderly Services.
Great.
That's nice.
Great.
I'll leave that with Linda if she doesn't have a copy of that.
The 18th? The,
15th, October 15th,
October 15th.
12 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Next Wednesday.
Then I want to remind the people, community supper at St. Luke's
Oh,
is
that's the one that we,
October 26th. It's going to be put on by the Rotary. It's going to be, as always, for the community, but there's going to be special guests from the core group, the special education group, and also students from Calvin Cushing School. And we always have a van from the senior center, and that's a volunteer, I believe, right? No, but we do have a van that does pick up seniors that can't get there. It's very popular with seniors. And what Rotary does is they do 4 meals for type of community service, and 2 are at St. Luke's. So they do it, since we already have the community services at St. Luke's once a month. And there has to be a special, I think one's going to be for veterans. Everybody's welcome, but we have special guests through that. And then they do 2 in Marshfield at the Council of Aging, which is a luncheon.
The senior center.
Yeah, at the senior center.
Which we could do, but I don't know why. That's right on the way.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, John. Great.
Mrs. Ball, you have the floor.
First, and I wanted to thank everybody that did attend the dinner at the Friends staff. We had 90 people. It was a great success, and the school choir chorus was there, and even though they had a limited amount of music, they still were very good from what I gather. I was in the kitchen cleaning up. And we did manage to make sure everybody had enough food. I also want to say this to all of you. Next Tuesday at 11 o'clock at the Methodist Church, we will be having at least 3 representatives of the those that are running for candidates for selectmen. Two of them will definitely be there. One is sending a representative, and the fourth one is going to be out of town, so she didn't give us anything to let you know. But I want people to realize that everybody's welcome. We'd like to have questions asked especially about where they stand with the seniors. I think that's very important to know when it comes up to elections.
That's 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
At your regular meeting.
At our regular meeting, yeah.
Do you know which ones? I know, I can remember the last names. I know Scott, Kelly.
Rick,
It's, the only one that's not coming is Marilyn Howe. Yeah, yeah. And Maura Curran,
Okay.
Michael Scott.
Like Scott.
Michael Scott, and Jerry Kelly.
Jerry Kelly.
Oh, that's great.
And that's at the Harbor Methodist Church?
Harvard Methodist Church at 11 o'clock. That's when we have our regular meetings, the second month of every Tuesday, second Tuesday of every month. I'll get it out right. But we're doing it with our meeting, we're combining it, and hoping that anybody that wants to comes, because it would be a good opportunity for them to get an idea of which one they feel is best suited for, I'm going to say for us.
So we have the elections in November.
Yes, we do. We do. But it's just one of those things to think, you're all welcome. I think that's all I have to say. And again, thank you for your help. The 90 people, I went out of there very tired, but every bit of work I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those high school
Has the
students.
COA ever had candidates, formal candidates?
No, we have not, but it would be a good thing to think about.
Michael Scott happened to ask me, said, do people planning? I don't know. I said,
Well, I know I talked
I said, I said, Joanne and her group were having a little forum. The elections are November 4th, so that's what, maybe 3 weeks away. So
Okay.
not a lot of time. Do you think that would be helpful if, Joanne, I'm asking you,
I can't hear you.
do you think it would be helpful to kind of build on your thing next Tuesday with the Council on Aging on Brook Street have?
I think for us, we have more room.
You do, but then just as a follow-up, maybe a week or two later.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you're
maybe at your cafe.
Yeah,
I was just thinking of sitting here.
yeah, I think they're booked though, I know they
Yeah.
are. Yeah,
But,
those get booked.
it's just-
But it could be on another day, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, we're just, our feelings were that, well, we have over 101 members, more than that actually. I don't know right now the full count. It's not a lot, but it is a start at getting the friends.
What kind of numbers do you get at the meetings so far? What kind of numbers?
The numbers ends up being just mainly the board that is coming. Pat, and Pat. It's just, we're hoping, like, we did get, 20 when we had Mr. Rogers come from Rockland to tell us about how we could, wasn't it about 20? That were there to tell us about what we could do to raise funds for a senior center, how we could go about it. He was very, very informative. I think people seem to think that it's just a board meeting, and it really isn't. It's for anybody and everybody. We've had more than that at times. It really depends on their day and what they've got going.
Well, maybe in the new business, I guess I would bring up to the board, how does the board feel about if we could put something together? If we, candidates, obviously, we have to get the majority of there. Do you think if we could get them committed to a date, do you think that would be something we could do?
That would be great.
Yeah, they're available.
Right, sure.
Yeah, prior to the 4th.
We should. What location?
At Brook Street, I think. Yeah.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of time.
No.
No,
we
but,
don't. So we should pick up.
We'll know by Tuesday, probably, when we could pick a date if we're going to.
So how will we be notified? Will people-
Well, as soon as we know, or it'll get in here. Melanie will be remembered.
How would you get the word out to the,
Roll call,
huh?
maybe a roll call,
Uh-huh.
or we could send quick postcards.
Is the newsletter out already? The newsletter, it's out?
Yes, it is, yeah. Somebody, they will, that could.
Yeah.
We could put it in the Mariner, if we could pick
Put it
it
where.
It has to go with the Mariner
by
Yeah.
Tuesday, doesn't it?
Monday.
Well, this week it isn't going to, so, you know, we'll do the
It would be
rest of the year with it.
Yeah, I think it's one of our concerns, efforts, thoughts is to, you know, work along this road to hopefully getting something done with the senior center. You know, I think putting the, selecting candidates on the hot spot and asking them straight up, you know, what are your views about, you know, what's going on in town and, you know, services that are provided to seniors. And rather than have somebody get voted in and find out that that's the last thing in their mind to work with the seniors, so, you know, even if we got 25 or 30 people to show up, we'll do that. You know, I think it's worth it to put
I think
together.
it's great. And
I do too.
any kind of attention we can get. Anytime we get push some kind of.
All right, well,
You also know, everybody, that 40% of your voters in this town are seniors?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
40%?
40%.
40?
40.
That's high.
If you could motivate them.
Yeah. Most seniors.
Okay,
It's a great idea.
Any other new business that anybody wants to bring up, or?
I'm just looking, no, I'm on the next one.
Okay. We go to the next one, there's no more new business, sure. I know that, when I talked to them the other day, I know we're planning on the future meetings, November, March meeting down at Pier 44 building. I think it's, yeah, that's what you said. Not here.
When was that decided?
I'm not sure it was decided,
No heat here.
Yeah.
No heat here.
Heat.
but,
No,
there's
it's
no
not.
heat here.
Hard to heat this building.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Don't they close this building down?
and I'm not sure if there was snow, I don't know if they plowed the parking lot.
Yeah, we never did.
So, you know, so I think that's the plan.
That's what they said.
You know, also, isn't the town meeting going to be the same night as the
kitchen for anything either.
council meeting, you know,
What's the half of it?
Same night as?
council meeting?
Our next meeting,
Oh,
So where are we going to be then?
so we might need to change the date.
well, we got to change the date, I don't think we should conflict with town. I mean, I went to the town meeting. so I'm sure most of you probably will also.
Well, the town meeting was the 13th.
Town meeting, I have that.
What's the
I
date?
can tell you right now.
What's the date of town?
Town meeting is December 3rd,
Okay, December.
and, no, December 3rd is the town meeting, and January 10th is the override, vote for the override.
January.
What was the January date, man?
10th
January 10th.
is for
Right,
the
the
override.
third, so it doesn't conflict, no?
It's in the paper.
Usually.
They did.
Oh, pretty sure.
That's what they said. Well,
Oh, okay.
they said it last night or the night before.
Okay.
So we'll be in November, did we say?
November 3rd. Was that- we're talking about the next meeting.
Our next meeting day would be,
Second
town-
Thursday.
You go to town.
Ninth, I think it's the ninth.
Go to
It's
town.
like the Thursday in November is the 13th.
November 13th? Okay.
And we just don't know whether
And I think here,
So
Yeah.
November 13th is the next one.
Yes.
44, I guess.
Yeah.
November 13th is a Thursday.
Okay, second
Yeah.
Thursday.
Second Thursday.
Okay, and we think April before, but.
You want, what would December date be? What's the,
December.
what do we do, second Thursday? Second Thursday.
The 11th.
Okay, so November 13th and December 11th.
That's fine.
I guess they have to keep that person. The pipes on
There
there.
is,
That hated their last one.
Yeah. All right, if that's it, I guess we.
Same time, 5:30? Would you
Yeah.
rather have it
Perhaps
6?
5:45 would be,
No, I would
if
give.
5:45 work for everybody, that would be a whole lot easier for me, I know.
Then put you
Yeah.
at
All right, so if we could do 5:45, that would be great.
5:45.
And we'll be notified where it's going to be then. what
Yeah,
date.
most likely it'll be down there at the Scituate building. Just let everybody know. All right, the motion to adjourn,
Can I make a motion?
I second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all.